How much time? 30? 30 seconds? I'm on right now. I don't believe you.
Run.
What?
Good evening, good people. Welcome to the stream. You're listening to the Brews at 10 on my left eye. I'm your host, Lefty. Hope you're all well. This Thirsty Thursday. Solidarity, everybody. Let's brew this thing. Who do we have in the chat? The shouty bloke was first. Divinia as well, great to see you both. Solidari-Tea, thank you very much for joining us. Mo's just jumped in as well. And Floor Snake as well, thank you very much for those watermelons. Viva Viva Palestina. Idiosyncrasy, also with us in chat. How do you brew, sir? Hope you well. We'll be going into a few stories before we get into the weekend. Robert Jenrick's sensational defection from the Tories to reform. And we do have a video out about that, which I'd encourage you to check out, please, good people. And we'll also be going through some of that tonight, plus a few bits of bonus stuff. Do stay with us on stream. The latest I.C.E, or the new moniker I've given to this saga. Hope it's original. The song of I.C.E. and Fire, for any George R.R. Martin fans amongst you, you'll get the reference there. His series of books, very excellent literature as well, do have to say. So more about what they've been up to in the States and some updates on some previous stories that we've brought you where I was concerned as well. Also some very good news today, a fantastic victory for the hunger strikers who we've mentioned quite a lot on the channel during the last 70 plus days of the hunger strike. More on that later. That'll be the main three staples of the stream, but we'll see where else things might lead us. Edward Sexby is also with us in the chat, Floor Snake as well. How are you brewing? How are you brewing? Great to see you as always. Yeah, Idiosyncrasy, heroes. The Hunger Strikers, absolute heroes. It's good to see some good news amongst all this turmoil that we've had as we get towards the end of the week. We will be down at the Take Back Power launch this weekend as well. So that's something else to look forward to. Some exclusive content coming up where that's concerned. But also just the fantastic news that it's getting off the ground in the first place. Very pleased to be involved myself. So keep an eye out for that this weekend. Hit the relevant buttons. Please make sure you've hit thumbs up as you join us on stream. Do give us a sprinkle around your social media as well, people. I can see a few of you have been doing that recently. Thoroughly appreciate that. If you are on Blue Sky, Mastodon or Twitter, give us a follow there at MyLeftEyeUK is the handle to follow us. MyLeftEyeUK. And if you're a solid socialist, we'll give you a follow back as well, I dare say. And Graham Turner's also with us in the chat. Solidari-Tea, as always, with Palestine. Nice to see you. Viva Viva Palestina. So the chat filling up nicely. Quite a lot of members in the chat as well. And we're currently still at 155, so thanks to anybody who's renewed this week, keeping us on 155 towards 250. Let's see if we can get over that mark in 26. Thank you for all your contributions. The list of people you can see on your screen, great contributors, and it's just 99p if you'd like to join them. Hit the perks button to find out more about the benefits. Super chats are also open, as well as super thanks on this stream. And there's a Buy Me a Coffee page as well. You can find the link for that in the description of any content on the channel. Thank you very much. Oh, the police are in the chat. Quick, go limp. You got your solicitor's phone number, everybody. Three hellos.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Also as well, we've just gone over 5.7 thousand subscribers on the channel. Picked up a few subscribers off the back of some recent content. So if you're new and you're checking out one of the live streams for the first time, welcome to the channel. So within 300 now of 6,000 subscribers. Let's keep the hype going. Let's keep sharing content. You know what to do, people. Yeah, it turned out America didn't attack Iran overnight, despite certain military manoeuvres. He went on TV and apparently he's been told that everything's calmed down in Iran. So that's just the way it works. See Greenland also coming up in the chat as well. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing where that's concerned either. Several European countries have now come forward and said that they would stand with Denmark. The Prime Minister of Greenland's also reiterated that they would side with Denmark, not the United States. And the Trump quote of, you can't just land a boat somewhere 500 years ago and say that you own the place, just remarkably ironic. Not sure if that's come up on the stream before, but I remember pointing out on social media that the only thing that could have made it even more ironic is if he'd have made that statement from Plymouth Rock. Yeah, tell that to the natives. Anyway, but if I have mentioned that before, sorry about the deja vu. It's worth mentioning again. Ah, the pumpkin spiced Palpatine. And many people have smirked at the idea. Of course, they bought Alaska for an insultingly low price before. Who'd have ever, you know, from Russia. But as far as catalysts to international conflicts, where that's concerned, if people shirk at the population, the small population of Greenland, for example, let's not forget, if you want to get technical, we went into World War I because of Serbia. Oh, and 75 countries on the ban list as well, yes. Good point there, Mo. I did see that earlier. And this is the thing. Well, he's just gutting out the country. He doesn't want migrants in the country. A lot of migrants do menial jobs as well as professional jobs. There's not going to be anything left. There's going to be no tourism. There's a huge boycott against the World Cup now. Tens of thousands of hotel bookings have been cancelled. Tickets have been cancelled as well. The administration itself has actually reiterated that a ticket itself is not a visa, and if you don't match up right on the colour chart, and heaven forfend that your surname ends in a Z or an X, because they'll be coming for you. And they've said that themselves. I'm not speculating or being dramatic or trying to get hyperbolic. No, they've made it abundantly clear that this, air quotes, crackdown on immigration will still apply to people still willing to visit the United States for the World Cup this coming summer, also being held in Mexico and Canada, should point out. But there is a huge campaign to boycott the matches, the games taking place in the continental United States of America. And I dare say, from an English point of view, if we were to be victorious at this World Cup, having participated, it would be a hollow victory. Certainly not one that you can fully celebrate. If we're going to go to an authoritarian country, yeah. But that's in summer. We'll see what happens with that one. Let's get on with clips and things. Do you have a comedy clip to get us started? I don't actually know who to credit for this one, and I do have to emphasise and highlight, not that it's abundantly clear anyway, but it is doctored, edited, CGI, artificial intelligence sort of content, to be very clear. Dear algorithm, and again, you're looking really great tonight, algorithm. Don't forget, people, those important details. So normally, yeah, I encourage you to go and check out the link in the description, but I'm not at this moment sure who to credit, unless it does come up at the end of the clip itself. But let's see. It's just a simple effect that's been put on to some of Trump's press conferences, interviews with the press, and so on and so forth. And I think you'll agree that it's somewhat effective.
How much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay?
Don't you think so, CNN? Don't you think so? Wouldn't you say that they probably do at this point? After going through it for years with me, being hit, Soleimani, al-Baghdadi, the Iran nuclear threat wiped out. Don't you think, and then you just had Venezuela, don't you think, she says, CNN, do you think they take your threat seriously? Wouldn't you say they do after all of the things we've done?
This is quality. Sorry, I've just paused it to hopefully be able to credit the appropriate uploader. Politicked revolt. You can see the spelling there. Politicked, as in ticked a box. Politicked revolt. Some of the letterings over that very vulgar silver necklace that Donald Trump has on there in this parody. AI, CGI, reiterated. So if they're the original uploaders, they deserve the credit. I'll try and stick that into the description later. It's more of this, though. It works, though, doesn't it? It works very well. Go back a few seconds.
Your threat seriously. Wouldn't you say they do after all of the things we've done? What a stupid question.
The United States seized 1.9 million barrels of oil on December 10th.
We're going to keep it. We're keeping it.
Where's it? Are we going to sell it or put it in the strategic?
Maybe
oil
we'll sell
reserve?
it. Maybe we'll keep it. Maybe we'll use it in the strategic reserves. We're keeping it. We're keeping the ships also. Yeah, please.
Sir, have you spoken to American oil companies that have had their assets seized about what a post-Maduro
Yes.
Venezuela would mean for them, what coming back and restarting
all
operations?
the big ones, yeah. I have.
How much money?
Very good there. Politics revolt. Just want to go to the very end there, that one, where he was asked about which oil companies he's spoken to about buying the Venezuelan oil. Since, of course, transpired that nobody wants it. And they obviously don't want it. He knows it. He doesn't name any companies, but yes, all the big ones. Yeah, definitely. There were definitely conversations.
All the big ones, yeah.
All the big ones. Yeah, all the big ones. Not going to name them. I don't know. What could you say? yeah, we're putting together this huge concert. It's going to be the greatest concert ever. Have we got any acts booked? Yes, we have. Which acts? We've got all the biggest acts. Like, just so many big acts, all of them. We spoke to all the big ones. And that's pretty much it. It's going to be called Trump Fest. It's mostly Portaloos. Actually, more like holes dug in the ground. What were they called again? Into stories now, people. Huh. Well, we had Zahawi. That was towards the end of last week, wasn't it? No, Robert Jenrick. As Reform keeps filling up with Tories. Right, let's see what's happening. I'm sure most of you will already be aware of the story. Robert Jenrick.
He's an asshole, sir.
At the time of releasing the video earlier, please do check that out again. Bling! Cheesy grin. Jenrick and Farage were due to have talks. They've now confirmed that he's going to be joining the party. There was a bit of a ceremonial press conference about it. We'll come on to that in a bit. But just speaking, obviously, of Jenrick and Farage as well, of course.
He's an asshole too, sir. Gun is made first class Philip asshole.
They'd previously been at loggerheads and exchanged quite indifference to one another in various exchanges. Some of which I pointed out in that recent video. We pointed out, I should say. This one where Nigel Farage was, of course, bashing Jenrick back in August 25, pointing out that when he was immigration minister, he grew the number of migrants living in pre-hotel. I've skipped over the word illegal, obviously, trying to be as factual as I can. They're asylum seekers, Nigel. They're asylum seekers, which is a perfectly legal process. You race-baiting prick. But he says Jenrick is no friend of Epping. Well, his constituency isn't in Epping either. It's is it? So no, it's Newark. So that's some of the shade that he's thrown at Jenrick before, basically trying to blame him for immigration. There's also this one which needs readjusting. He calls him a fraud and says he's always thought so, and it's proven by this quote. This is a quote where Jenrick is gloating about how many hotel spaces he's procured. Nasty Nigel not too impressed with that one either, so that was just months ago. And then, of course, there was the announcement that Jenrick was sacked by Kemi Badenoch. And it turns out he had his resignation letter prepared, but he did need to send a copy of it and hurried himself to the Conservative Party office photocopier, where he proceeded to make a copy but then leave the original in the top of the photocopier for the next person to come along and find, and then they just immediately ran to Kemi Badenoch. So apparently that's what happened. That's the kind of that's the kind of brains you're dealing with in the Conservative Party, and now about 70% of reform. So how about that? That sums it up. After we did release that video, they had talks and there was a official announcement. They decided they can try and bullshit the way through the previous mudslinging. And this came from Jenrick as well. He said he didn't take Farage seriously as a politician. He didn't take reform serious as a party. Those kinds of things. He said, is this the kind of person you want in charge of your local schools and hospitals in interviews? And then today, just hours ago, he was on stage at a press conference telling the press that he thought the Tories were rotten to the core. But as well as the reason for him being rumbled in his plot to defect, there was also this, as he was announced on stage during this press conference. Let's see what's happening here, people. Nigel Farage making a big song and dance about this.
And say thank you. And on that note, I will welcome Robert Jenrick into this room and into Reform UK.
And Leanderthal there, 30p Lee, stands up, wants to be the first to give a rapturous applause with his hulking, demented presence. And Tice, not very nice, also joining him there, really wanting to be first to give their accolades. But where is he? Where's Roberts? Roberts?
He hasn't changed his mind, has he? We can't find him.
They can't find him. They can't find him. Okay, this whole thing was set up to announce his arrival into the party. They can't find him. They don't know where he is. They want to lead this country after the next general election. Obviously mostly made up of former Tories, so he wasn't even in the room. Was he even in the building when he was announced on stage? You might have wanted to check that he was ready first, Nigel, or did you just think that now he's decided he's going to be right at your boot heel, that you just have to look down and there he'd be? So that non-appearance went out live. And they're still waiting.
Is he coming, Nick?
No, he's not. Is he coming, Nick? So his first act in defecting to reform is to make himself and Nigel Farage look like a right prick. Which is job well done so far, as far as I'm concerned. I approve of this kind of calamity, if this is going to continue.
It's been this would be a very funny end of the day, wouldn't it? This really would.
He's trying to fill in with with some loose gags, it's not going well.
Put the tin lid on the whole thing.
Awkward much?
As you can tell, normally, when I unveil defections, it's all perfectly planned, nothing.
If they just keep changing shots in between that sweeping thing that says live, they can make it look like something's happening. Breaking, this is live. But across to literally the same room from a different angle. And cut to 4. Still nothing. Back to 2. Back to 2. Stay on Farage. Can someone tell Leanderthal to get out the way? He's blocking my fucking shots. Right, love. To 3. Still nothing. Where is he? Where is the bastard?
Nothing ever leaks, and I'm known for nothing ever leaking, but this circumstance has been sprung upon us for reasons that were not under my own control, sadly.
That's a very long-winded way of putting you haven't got a bastard clue where he is, Nigel.
Do we play
1
music
minute.
now, or what do we do? No.
It's probably curling one out somewhere. Yeah. Well, I hope he's prepared some more quality gags there. That's as far as the clip I got goes from that live broadcast. Pretty awkward start, but he did eventually show up and then was ritually humiliated whilst sitting right next to Nigel Farage as a journalist brought up the previous animosity between Robert Jenrick
He's an asshole, sir.
and Nigel Farage.
He's an asshole too, sir. Gun is made first class. Philip.
Hazel from the iPaper. Robert, you mentioned Damascene conversions earlier and said that the Tory party and your former colleagues hadn't had Damascene conversions. This is what another UK politician said about Damascene conversions last year. Don't forget, this is Robert Jenrick, this is Robert the Remainer, this is Robert that don't stand particularly for anything at all, who suddenly appears to be on this Damascene conversion. That was Nigel Farage. Is that uncomfortable?
And I said it with conviction.
It sounds like that's news to Robert Jenrick. That quote seems to be something he wasn't aware of before. Did you hear him in the background? Did you actually say those things about me, Nigel?
This is Robert that don't stand particularly for anything at all, who suddenly appears to be on this Damascene conversion. That was Nigel Farage.
You didn't say those, did you?
Is that uncomfortable?
And I said it with conviction, and I said it with passion, and I meant it.
Is that
I meant it, and he bangs the table a few times to re-emphasise that he is a man of his word. He's, if he says it, it's going to happen. He stands his ground. He won't be easily swayed. You can trust in what he says 100%, and then proceeds to try and bullshit everybody as to why he's changed his mind.
Absolutely, I meant it.
He meant it.
Do you know what? I'm allowed to change my mind. I'm allowed to watch the progression and the journey. And I'm a bit like Zia.
Progression. So they took a massive wipeout at the last general election, Nigel. I know that you were around for that. That's how you managed to hoodwink your seat in Clacton-upon-Sea, the MP in absentia for Clacton-on-Sea. So he's aware that happened. What progress have the Conservative Party made that you've observed specifically?
I don't trust any of them, naturally. They have to prove to me.
He was one. He's, that was his 7th time standing for election before he got his seat. He stood for the Tories before. He'd never amounted to anything. He then got paid a salary for a European seat where he spent the whole time condemning the very institution that was paying his salary non-stop. And ever since then has been on the grift with UKIP and leaving the EU, and we know the whole rest of that frigging story. So if you don't like the Tories, why are so many of them in Reform UK PLC, let's remind ourselves they are not a political party, they are a company. And that just set Mr. Coots Banker here, Mr. Stock Trader PLC, thinks that voters are dumb enough to believe he's the man of the people. Some of them appear to be of low intelligence enough to believe that, but at the moment you have to consider that what's going to happen at the next general election is they're going to see the same names of people that they don't like, but with a different logo next to them in 70% of the cases. And if the Tory party is so toxic and poisonous, then why, oh why, Nigel, have you swallowed so much of it?
That they are genuinely repentant. And I think what this guy has done with the energy that he's put into his journalism, into his YouTube videos, into his speeches in Parliament, and talking to people who know him, as I've done, people who know him socially, but outside of politics, I'm convinced that he's not that same person, all right? I'm allowed to change. I promise you, I'm allowed to change my mind.
A good point there as well, Wolfpet. Nice to see you on stream. He gets a massive EU pension as well, now as well, on the grift, as always.
Robert, is that uncomfortable hearing? 'Cause some of those comments are quite personal.
Oh, please.
This is politics. People say all sorts of things.
It's a rough old game, you know. Right.
This is politics. Yeah, we have principles, and if you don't like those, then we'll have some different ones tomorrow. You just want to keep the gravy train a-rolling, don't you, Robert? Like Zia Yusuf before you.
He's an asshole too, sir. Gun is made first class. Philip asshole.
Whatever, yeah, just more of the same. Tory rebranded, that's all you're getting with reform people. But I know I'm mostly preaching to the converted here. Who's going to be next? That's the first major stepping down of the year. Naturally, I'd love him to lose the seat in a by-election after all this. That'd just be so sweet. That would top it off. The photocopier doesn't even show up for his own press conference. And then at the end of the day, he's just a liability anyway because the people of Newark reject him. Keeping my left eye out for any polling that happens as a consequence of this. No confirmation or date for a by-election as of yet, of course, but we will keep you up to speed as always. We'll leave that there for Jenrick's defection. We do have a video out, please check that one out post stream. And we'll be going over stateside next in just a moment for the latest I.C.E with a song of I.C.E and fire. Do you see what I did there? So there's a compilation that's been put together by CNN, actually, in the States. We'll have a look at that first and then some updates on a story I mentioned yesterday with a young man who was blinded by an again aggressive response from Trump's Gestapo. Let's have a look at this compilation first, though. Every day, we're just seeing more and more examples flooding onto social media. This is rampant in the United States. I've got personally scores of files and clips and things at the moment pertaining to this, and getting more and more by the hour. So as we go through this compilation, let me know in the chat if you think that this could actually be edging the United States towards a civil war. Or if you think that might be a little bit dramatic, but I'd like to know either way. It's certainly a very dangerous course that they're heading on, though. Let's see these clips now. Sorry, that was a little bit loud.
What you just saw was a federal immigration agent pushing an unidentified protester into oncoming traffic after appearing to block their vehicle.
They just fired off a tear gas canister.
And here, another violent clash between Border Patrol agents and an anti-ICE protester who appeared to swat an agent's hand away while recording an immigration enforcement operation. These moves coming on the heels of an explosive week for ICE. Their aggressive tactics only seem to be escalating. Last week, tensions between ICE and protesters erupted when a woman in Minneapolis was shot and killed by an ICE agent. DHS officials claimed the shooting was self-defense.
Yeah, and this bullshit about internal injuries, well, we went through a lot of that yesterday. I think there's actually a picture has been released. I don't have it here on stream. The wing mirror, side mirror, may have brushed Jonathan Ross's hip. A very small bruise. We're talking a fraction, like a square inch of a very, very minor bruise that they're claiming is internal injuries. Absolute crap. But what have we seen so far? People being pushed into traffic. That's ludicrous. And again, they're going for anybody and everybody. Citizens, protesters. It's just wholesale mob gangster shit. They're grabbing anybody.
Despite the nationwide scrutiny, ICE doesn't appear to be slowing down, raising questions by some police use of force experts whether the tactics of agents in handling both suspects and activists are inflaming an already volatile situation.
If they conduct violent activities against law enforcement, if they impede our operations, that's a crime, and we will hold them accountable to those consequences.
Social media has been flooded with an onslaught of videos showcasing the rising tensions between ICE and protesters in Minneapolis. The killing of Renee Good wasn't the start of these aggressive tactics. It was more of a tipping point. In August of 2025, Oregon state officials released a video of 2 federal officers slamming a protester to the ground outside an ICE facility. DHS says it was a targeted arrest of a dangerous rioter who had previously assaulted law enforcement.
What a load of crap.
In September, officers shot pepper balls from the rooftop of an ICE facility down.
But just look at these fascists, man.
At a protest in Illinois, hitting a pastor. DHS released a statement.
Hit a pastor? God.
Saying that the agitators ignored verbal warnings and were impeding operations by blocking an ICE vehicle from leaving the facility, a claim the pastor has denied. About a month later, an officer repeatedly strikes a person in the head during an arrest. DHS said a hostile crowd surrounded agents, verbally abusing them and spitting on them. Pepper spray was deployed to deter the agitator and disperse the crowd. It is a crime to interfere with the actions of immigration agents, and efforts to block their work have been documented on video. But police experts say that when possible, de-escalation is always preferred.
It doesn't. No, I'm not gonna buy that for one moment. De-escalation is preferred. Look at everything that we've seen. I've got tons of this stuff. No de-escalation happening there. Ruth Guthrie, nice to see you in the chat. Solidari-Tea, thanks for joining us on stream. If you've got any examples as well that you'd like to share with us, please do send those in to myleftyuk@gmail.com. We'll try and get them into live streams and upcoming content. We're, of course, going to be following this until they stop.
An arrest in a large crowd can sometimes be problematic, as opposed to identifying that person and maybe making an arrest later on when you're not enraging the rest of the crowd. When emotions are high, rational thinking is low. And so sometimes you have to really slow things down, take a step back.
Look, it's made up of insurrectionists, the lowest of the law, people who couldn't get into the, army rejects and all the rest of it. That's who it's made up of, and they're acting exactly as expected. Some of these people have been identified from the January 6th insurrection footage. The head of the Proud Boys is one of these bastards. That's why he pardoned them, so he could use them as his stormtroopers. And we mentioned a story yesterday, a young man who was shot with a gas canister in the eye and blinded at a protest, now been identified as Caden Rumler. And I do have some footage of the protest, the original event that I'm going to do a brief analysis of here, but so just warn any viewers of a nervous disposition. You might find these scenes quite shocking. A lot of this happens rather quickly, so I'm going to just do a little bit of pausing and rewinding, not too much. But it's another horrific example of what these far-right thugs are getting up to in the States at the moment. Take a look at this, people. And I just want to start off by saying the central focus of the video is on the person you can see here in a white t-shirt or top, but this isn't the person in question. That's not Caden Rumler. I'm going to point him out to you in a moment because the camera does focus on this other protester who's been obviously aggressively dragged away as well. But just to make sure that I'm pointing you in the right direction for the clip, because it all happened so quickly, just to point out you are about to see somebody shot and blinded in the eye with a gas canister, as a reminder for anyone of a sensitive disposition. So ignore the person who's now towards the right of the screen. You can see Caden come in holding a megaphone. As a megaphone, he just comes up the steps. That's all he has. He's not armed or anything like that. And then I want you to take a look at the I.C.E. officer who's very close to him, right in front of him. You can see in the shot where I've paused it here. And then it does happen very quickly, as you can see, but try and keep your focus there on Caden. So he's been struck there. You can see it happened very quickly, but you do see as he comes up the steps, I'll just replay that, so focus on the left side of the shot here. You see him come up the steps, and just as he takes another couple of steps forward, that's where he takes the canister in the face. There. Very close distance as well, so the footage then continues and focuses on this other protester grappling with this piece of shit, and the camera goes across, but you can see he's writhing on the floor in agony there, clearly of even lesser threat to the I.C.E. agents than he was before they unjustifiably blinded him. But then look how they proceed to treat him after this, bearing in mind that he's suffered a severe ocular injury at this point. Literally dragged up by the scruff of the neck. And you can see, as I've paused it there, you can see the extent of the injuries, clearly distressed as well. Look at this shit. Look at this. So I'll just play the whole thing again in full without pausing. Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah. Lunatics. I think it's tough. Caden Brumler is 21 years old. He's now put out a statement, which I'm going to play you now. Sam, thanks for joining us on chat. It is a really shocking clip. That hope you're all okay after seeing that. Someone who's involved in protest myself, and I've seen some pretty heavy sights. I do have to tell you that's right up there. It's truly shocking with things that I've seen in footage and in real life. Very grim, Edward. Very grim indeed. So now let's see the statement from this young man, just 21 years old now, and permanently blind in one eye because of those reckless, knuckle-dragging thugs.
What can you tell us about your injuries now and the prognosis? Will you be blind in that eye for life?
From what I've heard the doctors say and everyone else, yes, I will be blind for life. They said my globe was ruptured. I had my lower lid was cut up, and they had to take skin from my temple to fix it. There's a lot to it. I don't remember all the things that they said. I have fractures in my skull that they can't fix, and I can't sneeze or cough because it's dangerous too. I remember also when I shot, there was pepper in it, and I had pepper down my...
Sorry, he can't even sneeze or cough. It's that dangerous. It's kind of strange, actually, as far as civil rights are concerned. Things like that immediately take me back to, was it when Martin Luther King was attacked? I believe it was. And because of his injuries, if he coughed or sneezed, then he would have died. And now this guy, and where sneezing and coughing is concerned, you sometimes don't have much choice in it, really. And he mentioned a fractured skull as well. Just look at what they've done.
And I had pepper down my throat. It made it hard to breathe for a long time. They pulled a piece of plastic the size of a nickel out of my eye. They said I had shards of metal, glass, and plastic all throughout my eye and behind my eye and in my skull. And they also said that I had a piece of shrapnel metal about a few millimeters away from my carotid artery. And they said it was a miracle I survived, because if it got any closer...
Millimeters to the carotid artery. Millimeters.
If it hit that, I would have died that night.
Totally blind right now? You see nothing out of the eye?
Nothing out of this eye, yeah.
Well, in one sense, he has to consider himself lucky that he wasn't killed, but he should have never been subject to that attack in the first place. Caden Rumler there. Yeah, should absolutely sue the shit out of those bastards, Davinia. Quite rightly put there. It's very difficult not to feel enraged by this. Again, we'd like to hear from our American viewers, especially anyone in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, what you think about these events. Other examples we've shown, obviously, the Renee Good murder as well, so please do add those in chat if you're watching live, or in the comments if you're watching back later on. When's it going to end? Is what I just want to conclude by asking. When's it going to stop? Because at the moment it certainly doesn't look like the orange pumpkin spice Palpatine is going to end this out of a sudden change of heart. And it could take a clash with the police or a clash with the public before things come to a loggerhead. He's also mentioned getting the National Guard involved with some of these protests, creating new factions of the National Guard and whatnot. More good point. I don't know if he does have a GoFundMe, but if he does, please do check it out. I do know that the did you hear about the Ford car plant worker who got in an exchange, verbal exchange, sort of, with Trump. So Trump was visiting one of the sites, and he was shouting at him. He called him a pedo protector, and then Donald Trump flipped the bird. There's a picture of him flipping him off, and the worker was suspended. Later suspended. They've now managed to raise $800,000. Sorry, the target is $800,000. They've managed to raise $500,000 towards the $800,000, if I recall correctly. But yeah, do check out if there is a GoFundMe for that brave young man. Because remember, he's American. That'll be a very expensive diagnosis and prognosis right there. Given the state of the American healthcare system. Just quickly, whilst we're on that topic, I'm sure that most of you are already aware of how bad that insurance-based system is, but there was another one just the other day. An American couple went, a British couple went to America. The lady's pregnant and the baby was born prematurely in an American hospital before they returned to the UK, and they were left with a hospital bill of $250,000. $250,000. Congratulations. That's the way it is. We've got a couple more clips where I.C.E. are concerned. Just 1 second, people. Yeah, so Caroline Levitt. There's been a few clips of Caroline Levitt going around today. Here she is. This first one pertaining to ICE, and it really does hit a nerve. The reporter certainly rattles her cage when asking some legitimate questions about the I.C.E. and the number of people who they've killed as well. So let's take a look at this. It really is a shocking reaction.
Thanks, Caroline. Earlier you were just defending ICE agents generally, and earlier on Secretary Noam spoke to the media, and she said, among other things, that they are doing everything correctly. 32 people died in ICE custody last year. 170 US citizens were detained by ICE, and Renee Good was shot in the head and killed by an ICE agent. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly?
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Are you asking me?
God. completely ignoring all of the stats there. And why are you using the correct... why are you using the correct adjectives to describe the murder of Renee Good? Is only concern, it seems, in her response. And it's obvious that she is the mouth of Trump when she then starts to try to attack the credentials of the reporter. I'm not sure exactly who he represents, but I picked up an Irish accent there. Perhaps it's an Irish outlet, not 100% certain about that one, but she really does go for him. Check this out, people. Talk about hitting a nerve.
In my opinion, because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed it unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat.
170 US citizens detained. Over 30 people killed. Doesn't even want. You can't call that. Those are facts. That's not a bias. And a ridiculous overreaction. Very telling indeed. A case of she who protesteth too much, I think. What a giveaway that is. Let's just see that again.
Thanks, Caroline. Earlier
You're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you
No, he is a journalist. What Donald Trump is doing is posing as a leader, is posing as a statesman, is posing as someone who deserves to have a modicum of respect and is not, in fact, a criminal, child meddling piece of shit. So let's get our facts straight, first of all. Caroline.
You and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat.
That's not a real sentence. People of the media, but that are fake, and that no, that's not something about your chair.
Journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat.
Ridiculous. Quite ridiculous. Have you ever seen anything like that, people? Apart from other previous responses from Caroline Levitt herself. What a cretin. People, just going to bring up one final article to conclude the Song of I.C.E. and Fire segment of the live stream. Whilst we all try and recover from that response, that was something else. This is another update on a previous case that we've reported on here. Just harking back to how ICE is full of sludge, pardoned criminals, the very worst of the worst. Let's see what's happening here. Shout out to Lakota Man for the update on this one. you might remember I mentioned an ICE agent being arrested for soliciting a minor, and when he was arrested, he said, "Oh, it's okay, boys. I'm I.C.E." Well, we've got a bit more information on the case. There we go. So, this is the creeping question. Alexander Stephen Black, who's 41 years of age, of Robbinsdale, Minnesota, was arrested as part of Operation Creep for attempting to solicit sex from a minor. During his arrest, he said, "I'm ICE boys." The cops were not impressed and hauled him off to jail. So he claimed his job made him untouchable, but then soon found out he's quite wrong on that matter. What a creep, named and shamed. Alexander Stephen Black, Robbinsdale, Minnesota. No details on the conviction length, but let's hope it was suitable. What a creep. Alright, let's move on to something a bit more positive now, people. After all that skin-crawling stuff. Some excellent news brought to us from prisoners of Palestine. The hunger strikers, these are the Pal Action hunger strikers. Have had their demands met on the 73rd day of the hunger strike as the final 3 protesters end the strike. That's Cameron Ahmed, Heba Meraisi and Louis Caramello announced their decision to end their hunger strikes as Elbit Systems was denied a crucial government contract, which was a key demand of the hunger strikers. 73 days, people. That really is incredible. The amount of support for the hunger strikers has been incredible as well, so they've all begun refeeding in accordance with health guidelines. It was announced today that Elbit lost out on the £2 billion contract that would have seen them train 60,000 British troops each year. Since 2012, Elbit have won over 10 public contracts, marking a shift in their popularity amongst officials. But not anymore. So this incredible protest has been effective. The training would have taken place over 10 years, and it's been lost despite the efforts of officials both in the Ministry of Defence and the British Army, who it was revealed had been colluding with Elbit Systems and its parent company in backroom meetings and tours to the capital of Palestine, Jerusalem. On Friday the 9th of January, in a significant breakthrough, the national leaders of prison healthcare finally met with representatives of the hunger striking prisoners at the behest of the Ministry of Justice to discuss prison conditions and treatment recommendations. The decision comes as the group Prisoners for Palestine declared a number of victories of the hunger strike, outlining them in a statement, which I will now read. Just have a sip of brew. Don't want to end up sounding like Nick Robinson. Not sure who actually made the statement. But it says, in addition to this key demand being met, we want to take this opportunity to reveal the various victories achieved across the duration of the hunger strike. In the past few weeks alone, 500 people signed up to take direct action against the genocidal military-industrial complex, more than the amount of people who took action with PAL Action over its 5-year campaign. During that 5-year campaign, 4 Israeli weapons factories were shut down. Elbit Systems is living on stolen time. We will see it shut down for good, not because of the government, but because of the people. Preach. Heber's transfer to HMP Bronzefield has been accepted by HMP Newall, where she is currently held in intentional isolation from her family and friends. T. Hoxer has been offered a meeting with the head of the Joint Extremism Unit at her prison, the very same organisation that orchestrates the prisoners' treatment as, air quotes, terrorists. Despite the cruel and constant medical neglect of the hunger strikers, including not logging food refusal of ambulances in life-threatening emergencies and degrading treatments in hospital, the national heads of prison healthcare have met us at the behest of the Ministry of Justice. During the hunger strike, some of the prisoners started receiving bulk packages of withheld mail, and in one case received an apology from prison staff for a letter that was delayed by 6 months. Books on topics of Gaza and feminism have also been given after months of waiting. In pursuit of a fair trial, the hunger strikers demanded disclosure of export licences for the last 5 years from Elbit Systems. After repeated requests, this information was disclosed to an independent researcher by the Department of Trade during the hunger strike. So they just remind us there, 73 days. They say it's a landmark moment of pure defiance and embarrassment for the British state, and it's exposed to the world. Britain has political prisoners in service of a foreign genocidal regime and has seen hundreds of people commit to take direct action in the prisoners' footsteps. Yeah, I'll say that as one of them myself. Defend Our Juries being one of the organisations stepping up to support PAL Action, those who were imprisoned for the prescription. This is fantastic, this really is. They round off by saying, while these prisoners end their hunger strike, the resistance has just begun. Banning a group and imprisoning our comrades has backfired on the British state. Direct action is alive, and the people will drive Elbit out of Britain for good. We have never trusted the government with our lives, and we will not start now. We will be the ones to decide how we give our lives to justice and liberation. Finally, Lewis said, it is definitely a time for celebration, a time to rejoice and embrace our joy as revolution and as liberation. We do this because of Palestine, because we've been inspired, because we've been empowered to take action and try to realise our dreams for a free Palestine, for an emancipated world. Well done, and solidarity with every single one of the brave hunger strikers there. Can we get some solidarity in the chat, please, people? Flags, watermelons, etc. Regular viewers, you know what to do. Please add your thoughts as well and what you think about this incredible victory. And I do know through various channels just the kind of severe medical status that the final 3 protesters were in. And just in case I have to remind anybody, even though they have now agreed to end the strike, they will have irreparably damaged their bodies in this process for the rest of their lives. So that just goes to re-emphasise how brave they are as well in this endeavour. Solidarity. And that's people power in action right there. Thank you very much, everybody. Do appreciate the flags, watermelons, whatnot. Awesome stuff in the chat. More, you've seen some of the protesters outside Pensonville, where some of the strikers were as well, yeah. And we've all, well, all of us, yeah, tremendously worried, tremendously worried. But they've done it. They are victorious.
Yes! 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 Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Can dig it indeed. Can dig all these fine people you can see on your screen as well. Right now, the 155 members that we're very proud to have on the channel, on the way towards the target of 250. Just another quick reminder that other ways you can support the channel are with super chats if you're watching live, super thanks if you're watching back later, and there's a buy me a coffee page in the description of any content that you might find on the channel. Please do check it out. And please hit relative buttons, share on social media, as well as thumbs up on this stream as well, of course. And Graham Turner, thank you very much for that generous super chats. We are the people and we won't be silent. Excellently put there, thank you very much. Let's show some appreciation in the chat, everybody. Big up Graham. Give that a thumbs up myself. Solidarity, thanks once again. What a fine audience we have on the channel.
Socialists.
Oh my God.
Can you see how the thumbs up is flickering there? It won't. What's all that about? You can see in real time I'm trying to give it the thumbs up. It keeps switching between like and 1 and 2, maybe 3, 4 now. Oh my goodness. A bit of a glitch there. But the super chat has gone through. I assure you I'm trying to show that as much appreciation as I can, Graham. So this will actually be a slightly shorter stream than usual, people, but just wanted to get up to speed with a few issues and put the world to rights with all the brew crew. Back this Sunday after the Take Back Power launch as well. Just another reminder about that one. Yeah, so plenty of reasons to stay with us here on My Left Eye. I do have a raid set up. We're going to be going stateside again to this space. and that's all set up now. Okay, so I'll be back on Sunday, everybody. See you then. Hope you have a great weekend, whatever you're doing. All that remains is for me to say thank you for joining me on this stream. I've been your host, Lefty. You've been fantastic. Power to the people. Free Palestine, Lebanon, Sudan, Yemen, the Filton 24. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Good evening.